I think I may have peaked in life this week, you guys. I think this is it. This is what most doctors could only dream of. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was on the front page of the New York Times. The digital version though, like online and on the app. If you have a copy of today's paper, there are excerpts from the interview, but basically I was on there talking about using TikTok to talk about COVID vaccine facts, and it just so happened that the story ran the same day that the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, started getting shipped, which was, I believe, last Monday. So, oh my gosh, that was huge. I'll leave the links to the New York Times articles down below. I think this calls for a change in costume. Check this out. But another reason why this week was also huge is because I had my first collab on YouTube, which also happened to be Dr. Mike, of all people,
Hello.
who's been a friend of mine for a bit now. And if you want to go check out his video, we actually reacted to certain recent health events of another huge YouTuber, Markiplier. And actually it got me thinking there were so many things that we talked about that weren't included in the video. So maybe I'll make a video about that and all the different things that we talked about in maybe my next videos. If you don't want to miss that video, be sure to subscribe down below and I'll get that video out really soon. And yes, even though that video was a ton of fun to make with Dr. Mike, I do wish Markiplier all the best in his recovery and hopefully no more hospitalizations for him anytime soon. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Austin Chang. I am a gastroenterologist by training and I subspecialize in advanced and bariatric or weight loss endoscopy. But today I want to delve more into the New York Times article which was about the COVID vaccine, the vaccine against the virus SARS-CoV-2. So like many of you, I have the attention span of a rabbit. So I'm gonna do this myth-busting rapid fire style. We're gonna go through all these questions real quick. Hopefully it'll answer all the fundamental questions you might have about the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, keep in mind, I am not an immunologist, virologist, or epidemiologist, but based on my understanding with a public health background and having a perspective of working in a hospital where we are treating COVID-19 patients, we often see the worst of what's happening in the pandemic. So hopefully I can help distill all the information that's being put out there into a simple version that is easy to understand for all of you. Okay, now that we're getting into the serious topics, I'm gonna change back out of this. Okay, let's get started now. Myth number one, everyone's getting the vaccine and at the same time. Nope, the vaccine is currently being offered to age 16 or older, and not everyone is gonna get it at the same time. Right now, in general, priority is going to health professionals and other high-risk individuals before it being rolled out to the general public. It takes time to administer the vaccine to the entire population. It's gonna take months. Some people might not get the vaccine until April or May. As a health professional working in a hospital, I haven't been able to get it yet. I want it, and when it's offered to me, I'm definitely gonna get it. Currently, different hospitals are prioritizing differently. For the most part, like where I work, the emergency room doctors, the intensive care unit doctors, the COVID-19 unit doctors are getting it first. Some places are prioritizing older employees, but I think the most important thing at the end of the day is that every person who gets vaccinated brings us one step closer to herd immunity. Myth number two, if half of our country doesn't get vaccinated, will we ever make it to herd immunity? We estimate that we need about 60% of the American population, which is 330 million people, to have immunity. And the projections show that we're gonna start getting to a level of herd immunity around July of next year. But that doesn't mean that we need 60% of the population immunized. It'd be great if we can, but the fact of the matter is that we're gonna have a significant proportion of the population that is actually going to have some degree of immunity with having had the virus already, because our numbers are so high here in the US. Myth number three, I'm going to get COVID from the vaccine. Well, actually, the vaccines that we're talking about right now are mRNA vaccines, which is neither the virus nor does it make the virus. The mRNA codes for the spike protein, and the spike protein part of the virus is what we want our bodies to recognize when we actually do get exposed to the actual virus. Think about if you're going to the car parts store. It's not the dealership. They're not going to sell you the whole car there. And the spike protein is like the license plate that you've primed your body to recognize so that when it does see it, it can go after it. I don't know why I just made like so many car references, but I think it works. Number four, I'm gonna have an immune reaction to the vaccine. That's exactly what we want it to do. The vaccine is meant to trigger an immune reaction so that the second time around, your body is ready to go. Next, it's FDA approved. Well, that's half true. It's FDA approved for emergency use authorization, or EUA. And like everything else in medicine, we're always weighing the risks and benefits. And right now, the benefits of having a vaccine that is pretty well studied sure outweighs the risk of a significant portion of our population dying from COVID-19, which has already happened. Myth number 6, they rushed the process. It was developed too quickly. Yes, the trials were done in record-breaking time, but it was also because of funding that they were able to push these trials through, interest from people enrolling in these trials really quickly, and these vaccine trials have enrolled more people than in a lot of the other vaccines that we've been using for decades, and even a lot of medications out there that are being prescribed very commonly. Myth number 7, you don't need to wear masks or social distance after getting the vaccine. You absolutely do, because first of all, the truth of the matter is we don't know how long immunity will last. We don't know how long immunity lasts after having the virus itself. We don't know how long immunity lasts with the vaccine either. So it's still best if we take precautions, and that brings us to our next myth. I only need 1 dose. After the first dose, you have about 52% or so efficacy from the vaccine. And you can see from the trials that the difference between those who got the vaccine versus placebo, there wasn't much of a difference in infection rates in the first 21 days, which is why the second dose is given at day 21. And after that dose, the vaccine efficacy jumps from 50-something% to 95%. Myth number 9, it decreases symptoms and doesn't give you immunity. Well, based on the trials, like I said, after day 21, we actually see a significant difference between people who receive the vaccine versus placebo. So yes, it does actually prevent infection. Myth, I don't even remember what number we're on. People with underlying conditions don't need it. Well, as usual, I think it's really important to check with your doctor. For anyone who is immunocompromised, you might be at higher risk of having serious complications from COVID-19. And remember, the vaccine is not the virus, nor does it create the virus. The next myth, the mRNA vaccine is going to somehow change my DNA. Actually, the active part of the vaccine, the mRNA that codes for the spike protein, never enters the center of your cell, the nucleus, where your DNA is housed, so it won't affect your DNA. The next myth, it's mandatory. Actually, right now it's not. If we do get to a point where it becomes mandatory, there may still be certain exceptions that people can claim, just like other vaccines out there. Myth number, I don't even know. There are 1 million ingredients in this vaccine. Actually, there are only 10 ingredients. The mRNA itself, which eventually codes for the spike protein, 4 different types of salt, one of which is sodium chloride, which is table salt, 4 fatty substances, and sugar. Which brings me to the next 2 myths. You're injecting microchips into my body and Bill Gates is gonna be able to track me, which I don't even know how any of that makes sense. Like I just said, there are 10 ingredients in this vaccine. Microchips are not one of them. And if we're concerned about being tracked, I'm pretty sure we're already being tracked. And also allergies to the vaccine. None of the 10 ingredients are common allergens. There have been some allergies reported, I think less than 10 reports of allergies to the vaccine out there. And typically allergies to vaccines are super rare, like 1 in a million. Now I did read that one of the medical professional societies, the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, recommended that those with a severe allergic reaction to polyethylene glycol avoid the vaccine. Now polyethylene glycol, which is a part of one of the ingredients, is also found in a lot of different other things like ultrasound gel, Miralax, which as a gastroenterologist we use a lot for constipation. It's over the counter. And that's all just to show that allergic reactions to polyethylene glycol and the ingredients in this vaccine are very rare. So if you do have a history of severe allergic reactions to something, it doesn't hurt to ask your doctor whether or not you should be getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Alright, hopefully that wasn't too fast for you all. You can always rewind and watch things over or leave your questions down in the comment section below. I know there are a lot of different other myths that are circulating about the vaccine and pregnancy, vaccine and infertility. I'm not an OBGYN doctor. You can go watch the other videos out here on YouTube from my colleagues and friends in those fields where they address those myths much better than I ever will be able to. Alright, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out a follow-up to the collab that I did with Dr. Mike reacting to Markiplier's videos. If you want to watch more of my TikToks or find me on any other social media platform, I'll leave the links down below in the description box. Plus, I'll also leave the links to the New York Times articles down there as well. Thanks again for watching, so until next time, stay healthy and I'll see you very soon.